We're moving in the middle of the world right now. Inside the late lamb's cottage. She's practicing. Evaporating screen. She was sweating like she had just taken a shower. Then she saw the photographer appear in front of her. That's amazing. He told me the teacher had been waiting for a long time. The photographer turned around and replied, "It wasn't too long. The government is not very safe. Fortunately, we can easily get in." Then he bowed his head and said, "There are 7 feasts, please forgive me." She laughed and said, "I've eaten a long time." There was no value to them anymore. But if we're dead, I'm afraid it will cause a big shock. Normal people don't dare to do that. The photographer asked why. "I don't know if my body is any better. Try to sweat. The clothes are wet, and the whole body is steaming hot." Smiling, "Thank you for your interest. It's much better to take the medicine." Climb in a surprised voice. And then they're both embarrassed. The photographer looked baffled and thought why he hadn't returned yet. Suddenly, he appeared to ask the photographer, "Why are you here again?" The photographer also asked why he was so. The fisherman asked, "It was just outside. I heard that you fought with Mirong Yu. There was a SAO conflict." Stupid photographer who asked what conflict. Don't respect my face. Ask if you were beaten by him. When I heard the photographer confirm, I tried to laugh. So what are you going to do? The power of the weapon is strong. We are not his opponents either. The photographer said temporarily, "I can only hold my breath." This surprised Mr. Lamb. The truth is out. This time there is some work. I want to ask you to help me. Try to agree immediately. Clap your chest and tell me what's wrong. I'll do my best. The photographer is so impressed. I would like to ask you to help me by my soul. No matter how mature we are, we need it. This does. Ask yourself what you need to know. The photographer said more, as much as possible. Makes it difficult to understand. What do you want so much love for? The vast majority of the animals in the Long Kuan area are college creatures. A lot of blood. It is even better than the old ones. That you need again. They say there is no need for blood. Just a lot. Try to ask, but love, the popular spirit, is not highly mature. It doesn't work at all. If you want to share your soul, I can help you do something better. But the photographer laughed. Tell me, I have my own way of using it. How much does it cost to buy a soul? I'll pay you later. I need a lot. As much as possible. She agreed to say, these are the popular spirits. You don't need any spirit stones, because there's not much in the Dragon Kingdom. But the world is a lot. We sent some people to piss the world. You can get a lot very quickly. Laughing, thanks to you. What are you doing laughing at the customer? Everyone is a good brother. If only you could save billions. Just give it back to me. Then the photographer left. I didn't forget to tell you to keep this a secret. Fast forward to the next afternoon. She has received a lot of love. He shows Love Lin raw table with love dream. The lake can feel more than 20,000 love spirits a day. That's enough to practice 2,000 times. I immediately started putting 2 fingers up. Then recite the mantra. The spirits are floating around the oven. Then the dream of loving the lake lit up. The photographer's face was full of expectation. The wire behind the stove sprayed with smoke. It almost made him realize. Directly use high-quality smelting. It's easy to lose 7. But the dream of loving the lake is also absorbing. The power of love. If you are broken, you'll easily become a good lover. A while after training, the photographer is right. More than 20,000 love spirits. Train raw 30 love spirit acute mature. God acute mature. Love spirit of this universal vein. You can sell 35 minus 10 spirit stones. Even though it's nothing to the rich kids. But the average student can afford it. You can't sell things at the market, right? The living cannot stop urinating and die. Yet the spirit stone very quickly will pass through the grave of Vu. I didn't know until then. How will he react? Now the motto and 6 adventure also return. But 6 adventures. They beat me up and beat me up. The eyes are still flying. When the photographer came out, he saw this. It's amazing. I came to ask you why 6. He told me not to mention it anymore. We are in the devil's paradise. It's about hunting more than 3,000 ghosts. They were all stolen by the enemy. And then he was beaten. The phrase next to it says, we also have some problems. But still lucky. Their power cannot do anything to us. But that, I've only hunted more than 5,000 pieces. But only after returning. I hear others say, the first day you went out. The Lord said, I have found a grave. Made 6 amazing adventures. Asked is the firehouse at the top of the SAO table. The photographer sighed to confirm that. Take all 20,000 pieces of my soul. 6 adventurers said they didn't blame us when we went out. His 6th century is renewed. Once collected 10 to 12,000 souls. Right now, the motto tells us not to exchange many spirit stones. You can divide it up and use it first. The motto took the spirit stone bag. Ra laughed. More than 160 stones. This is the one where we get the most, but... The photographer sighed and said there was no need. We have a way to get the spirit stones. People want to block the road. To harvest our spirit stones. Is it that simple? Let's go. Let's take a trip to the celestial market. They immediately went to the exchange market, which was very busy. 6 questions about what we're doing here. The spirit stones on your hands are not enough to practice, not enough to buy stuff. The photographer said he didn't buy anything today. We are here to sell love. God level is mature. Hearing that makes the mind startled to ask, where is your love spirit? 6 adventure laugh high. Of course, there is a way. The photographer speaks up. Someone asked, let's say you bring it from the world of the underworld. No matter what, they can't get in. In the temple, those people didn't dare to do anything. We quickly find a place. Before they come to mess up. Sell as much as you can quickly. They put it out. Sit down and wait for someone to buy it. And 6 people went through the next booth to look. He told the photographer we found a problem. There's a really important gas problem here. The enemy this time we met. The power is almost the same as ours, but they have a dual product. I didn't fight him at all. Name immediately welcome 6 adventure. This little boy. Which one of my weapons do you want? You've been watching for a long time. 6 people asked if they could buy debt. The salesman told him to get out. 6 bored adventurers rolled back to where he lamented. How rich we were when we were in Kwangwi. Even though this place is not familiar with NDTO love. There's a lot of noise around right now. People move their hands and talk. I heard that the new photographer. Bring love spirit level maturity, sold out. The other asked in surprise, is that it contains inherited SAO? The guy said, maybe. You can't buy it either. It's all love. It's a universal spirit. So what's interesting? One protester said, love of spiritual maturity is not bad. But in my world, 100,000 only one. The others started talking. Yes, the price is not expensive. This glass is starting to sell all its possessions. I heard he was beaten. This world of yours is low. Someone asked him what he was selling. Over here, 6 adventurers shout loudly to announce selling Love Lin. God level has the best maturity 50 spirit stones. Buy 1 ba, get 1 free. Surprising people say. They're on the other side. Check it out. 6 new opportunities to Love Lin. Buyers who are cherished by the spirit, full of joy. It makes other people stupid. 2 people bought it. A name that speaks of a rare opportunity. There will be no more. We have to collect the money. I told you, run away in a hurry. The others are waiting for me, and I want them too. Everyone rushed to the photographer's booth. Chen wished each other a choice. Now, there's a group of people who are watching. People are choosing. I suddenly felt a surge of energy coming. Hurry up and look back. It's amazing when a young man is leaping. Dragged by a group of people go to. 6 adventurers are also out of sweat asking. It's burning so hot. The photographer now looks at the bar. Young leader that recognized as long inflammation gas I. This person's cultivation is long inflammation. 9 changes of the world's inflammatory diseases. I want to be stronger than a few. 6 stuttering asked the great CA, what do you want? The name Kier frankly said, heard, you're here to sell out your adult instincts. The photographer replied yes. That's what Kier casually said. How much do I buy, according to your price? It makes 6 adventurers happy. The photographer laughed softly and asked, I don't know how to address him. The guy laughed, ha ha ha. I know there are only 2 of you in the room. It's you and the Dragon Ball that I'm interested in. Baggage wound inflammation of the world. Photographer recognized luggage, etc. I've heard of this person in my previous life. It seems that, after the comic, World Inflammatory Disease 7 defeat, then I went back to the dance floor. And then become the head of one side. Although he is also a good and evil man. It's hard to distinguish yourself from the rest of the world. Subordinates with brothers, they are extremely loyal to him. His popularity compared to his senior and long. The dance is much louder. The photographer laughed softly. Here we are left with 24 of God's greatest demons. To be mature, Your Highness. Luggage heard that, a voice. It's more than I thought. But no matter how many, we can all eat it all. Sorry about this, love. There's no inherited blood. There is a hereditary dragon blood, whether it's adult or elite. The photographer thought, look, there are no less subordinates now. If there is still this kind of love in the future, we will contact the missing. The driver was silent for a few seconds. Then you can laugh. In short, as long as there is a mature spirit. Please contact me, no matter how much Ra takes. The next 6 adventurers asked the photographer, so now what? The photographer said to remove the bag for lack of reason. Made 6 adventurers happily agree. Then laugh happily, hi hi. 24 in total is 900 spirit stones. The luggage was thrown to the ring. Take away 6 adventure, get fun. Thank you for missing. Deliver immediately. Your lack of love. The luggage is light. Put your hand on the photographer's shoulder and tell him I like you. If you're interested in joining me, come find me. I will definitely welcome you here. I don't like it or not. If you have a good heart, contact me. He laughed and thanked the Lord for appreciating me. If there is a love of spiritual maturity God level, I will contact the missing person immediately. I sat in my suitcase for a few seconds and laughed. Good praise. I wait for your news. Turn to tell your staff to come back. Change the words with the flower. Later, I will protect you. If you dare to play, we'll deal with him. Then turn to the photographer from. The photographer also bowed his head. So the luggage turned around and left. People around talking to each other. Don't know, why do you buy so much love? The guy next to him said, of course, I bought it for my men. The fire was very good for the faithful. Everyone has 3 or more gas protection products. People are screaming, I want to join them. This guy is mocking. I'm not sure they even looked at you. Then I said I don't know. Lie. Where to go to catch so many grown-ups? It's only been a few years since my death. Little Lin fluttered the world. There are people who are so spiritual. Some say there are many gods. Love Lin is mature. It's normal. Ask the photographer here. These lovers, taken from the world to the real SAO. The photographer nodded and said it's temporarily inexplicable. I'll tell you later. Make the motto suspicious or glance at. 6 adventure next to ask. That lack of logic helps us deal with the fire. Why didn't I mention the story of Ho Dong? It's not very clear. Laughing, he wanted others to help. Of course, there must be conditions. People can't help you in vain. What do 6 deformed-faced adventurers understand? Make the photographer frown. But if he wants to buy infinite love, maybe we'll make the business even bigger. Though SAO, the only way to make money is to love your heart. Hear that? 6 adventure uttered ask love spirit dragon blood SAO. That's good. But she said she didn't have one yet. Time passes 3 days later. People are back in the classroom. People talk like a market. Now I try to look through the glass with a small smile. To the words that speak. My servant. I have hunted more than 60,000 demons. Retreat fun getting. Thanks for the rush 6 in person. He handed out a bag that said there were 600 spirit stones. It makes you embarrassed to ask, what are you doing? How can this little soul still pay? Our friendship is just a transaction. Speaking of which, the photographer interrupted. I still want to ask you. Help me buy some of the dragon's blood. It's either universal or adult. So I tried to take it and laughed. It's a small thing. You can speak up now, folks. In this lesson, we will learn the art of war. Everyone is focused. Listening to Lin Chai preaching above. I was thinking about practicing all night. He used more than 200 magic stones. It's too scary to consume your soul. Want to practice stably? There must be more stones. Waiting for a lot of love. Then start using the dream of Fusion Lake. Meanwhile, Long Wyan was sitting in the back looking at the photographer. She thought to herself, I will catch up with you, Harry. Right now, the guy is sitting next to me. Speak out affectionately to the photographer. He was thinking about Master in his mind. From that day, there is no news of seeing the Master. I don't know if you're still in the paint. Find some free time and visit. Time passes by. The spirit continues to speak. The spiritual training is the most important. The student's love is not strong. Just go to heaven. Can be well integrated. Love Lin has inherited blood. Is a genius who possesses the divine root. I hope to love the dragon blood that you merge. At least be excellent in maturity. Everyone finished listening to Lin S. Chain, saying more. This is for your future development. Will be more beneficial. One of the people below said, inherited long blood, good maturity must be 78. 10 spiritual stones. The level of excellence must be thousands of spirit stones. Others complain that they're probably just. Have the ultimate family of superlatives. You can enjoy it. The photographer here thinks, dragon blood loves psychic, mature god level. I'm afraid that in the 3 great worlds of Wu, then, only others have it. This thing can be called a strategic resource. There is enough. God's love will also win back competition. In other words, the dream of loving the leg can make love spirit level. To be mature. No exaggeration. It can interfere with the fate of the dragon kingdom. It's a rare truth. If someone notices its effects, I will surely die. Maybe this time it will be rude. After that, the soul must be more careful. Chain Lin continued, of course, the bloodline. Love psychic, mature, excellent. Can only meet, cannot bridge. If you really can't find it, all the elites are fine, waiting for you to come to heaven. We can go to the world. Hunting dragon blood animal. Then you can slowly find it. After listening, the whole crowd went up. Kim Deem here is also cold thinking, that is all. But who has no context? I want to get love, or God level of maturity. It's impossible. I looked at the photographer and laughed. The body wants, even if the genius is far beyond us, it is okay. My family, prepared in advance, give me an excellent dragon spirit. Just wait for my cultivation to reach the heavenly realm. It can be integrated immediately. You are from the small world. Can find an elite maturity. That's lucky. They may not even find out. This is the difference between status and status. Even if you have entered a certain world, no one else can give you good love. No matter how strong. He is the dog of the family. It can be compared to your children. The point with us. Haha, the last genius in the world. Can only be subdued by the nations. The power is forever in our hands. This is the long Kui area. The world is inherently unequal. Let's see. It doesn't depend on what step you can take. The police officer is now investigating. After you come back to study a lot. What is your question? Later, you can ask me. Then Chai Lin announced her graduation from school. The whole group quickly left. The photographers also left. Try to turn to talk. The photographer heard. You sell a lot of God-given love. To be mature. He laughed to confirm. You're laughing. Do not share with brothers Sao, the men of my cousins. We also raise a bunch of people. They also need something to attract people. Of course, hundreds of them. Love spirit level is mature. No problem. The better the blood. In terms of money, it will not be lower than the luggage. I heard that, the photographer said. I've thought about it before, Zhu. Forget that your family needs to love you too. But you didn't say. I love my mature spirit. Where to come later? I try to laugh and tell you not to talk. We don't have to ask either. 6 is wondering right now. Where do we go to get so much love? I heard that the photographer showed her in show. The photographer said to me thank you. Waiting for me to love my soul. I will come to the hospital to find you. Then aesthetics is still unexplained with 6 adventure. The next thing to say is, it must be that it hasn't been digested yet. If you love your soul, why? Try to laugh next time. The photographer quickly returned to the room. He is very focused on the soul. The dream of loving the lake constantly lit up. God-granted love tablets go upstairs. He carried a bag of love and tried to bring it in the morning. The feeling of love turns strong. Train out nearly 100 love Lin mature spirit level. Then, to bring the love of the spirit to be cultivated. When leaving, he used a love image so I wouldn't know the devil. Flashed through the door like a wind. Then leave softly. In the evening, we went to a high mountain. Go to the house surrounded by the peach blossom of Nie Li. Go to the quiet 01 house and stand stupidly. He remembered the image before. Uncomfortable asking the master, what do you always say that is good and bad? But who is living? How can I let go of everything? For example, I was born in the Holy Land. My friends' lovers' families are all dead. Then you want me to talk to the enemy. I only believe in taking revenge. Just give me a small chance. I will definitely kill them. I said it and acted like the moon, laughing unruly. I can't stand education. The photographer shouted, I can't stand to educate people. Look at this dance. Everywhere there are people paying attention. Wait until we are strong enough. I will make them all kneel before you. Receive error. Take revenge. This is my life. As Moon said, people in the world suffer. But the water can be vast and long. Box leap of things. It's hard to understand without words. Back in the present, he thought. I still can't explain that I'm the Avenger. Whether you love God or God, the old hatred is not dead. I can't be peaceful for a moment. How should we face hatred in this life? Should I come to see you? Then he walked to the door and thought I was here. Master. The corner of his eye, he suddenly raised his hand to the door hesitantly. Then knocked on the door and a voice called, come in. When I opened the door, it looked as if the moon was sitting there, laughing told you to come, then sit down. I sat in front of him like a dog. When I opened my mouth to talk, suddenly, as the moon said, next story, I said you don't have to ask. Things you shouldn't know. If I ask, I won't say. What you should know. You don't have to ask, I'll tell you. The surprised photographer laughed and asked not to know. What is it that billions want to tell us? Suddenly, he was struck as if the moon knocked on his head and said he was paralyzed. Made the photographer gasp with wonder. I remember being told by her before. Dare to call me billionaire. You're too disrespectful. The photographer then hugged his head and laughed stupidly. Back to reality, he called out to his master in tears. She asked a strange question, didn't she? Why do we know these things? But the genius of art. It is so magical. You can discover all the illusions in time. Not calculating fate. Although to figure out these things, we've lost 25 lives. The surprised photographer asked, why do we have to calculate this? The future is asking me. I will say it all for you. But as the moon protested, you are still an insider. After calculating, it goes beyond what you know. The photographer asked the insiders, maybe the fate of my life. It has nothing to do with our free will. We have eliminated the danger of the city of Kwang Wi. That sounds like a soft smile and said, what you have to do later is to win the position of the cardinal. Vu then Sao. It makes the photographer look like he's been sprayed. Then he confirmed it must be our first planning step. This step must be completed. As Moon continued, if you want to be a boss, I can nominate someone for you. She can be your strong ally. Surprised photographer asked who, as if the Moon is my sister. The sound of this name startled the photographer. What, are you kidding? Lamb worked with her. Do you know I only wish I had killed her? If it wasn't for the training of a previous life person, I have destroyed the Dragon Seal family. I will not let you die again in this life. But Dragon Ball is not, probably as Moon asked, because in a previous life she forced me to die. There is a reason. Because in her eyes, I was the one who killed her master. Because our master did indeed kill himself. As the Moon sighed, this world is magical. I have no way to explain it to you. For a moment, you hated her. And she hates me. This hatred has turned into a stalemate. This hatred only you can solve. He remembered the scene of his previous life. Master died in his arms and was heartbroken. As the Moon asked, after 2 lives, you can't let go. The photographer is still hesitating, as the Moon continues to say, we don't have to. You can do good and bad. But the dragon boat will not intimidate me. Why not let go of your hatred for her? He paused for a few seconds and was right. Long Yu Yin is the master's sister. Master learned how to save the calculator. God told me to do this for a reason. As Moon continued, the detail of each calculation revealed. The sky will consume life. You shouldn't ask too much either. The photographer thought it was right that Master wasn't joking. She's 10 years old now. She's still a girl, and that's it. The photographer agrees. Just like I said after this temporary return. Don't come here. The rain that comes to this place will get people's attention. Then listen to Theo. This time I can see you are alive. Don't worry. Then the photographer stood up and said, Master is waiting for me. I will definitely become the Lord of the Rings. I will definitely protect you. The master looked like the Moon, following the photographer's shadow. Then tell yourself, I'm just afraid I can't wait until the day you become Lord. The door is closed now. On the way back, the photographer went thinking. Now the faction inside the 5 gods grows like a mushroom. Extremely intense struggle. 100 years from now it will collapse. I just became the owner. We can adjust the order of the gods. This is the first step to the Holy Spirit. That now, we must hurry up to the heaven. The sky is coming, I can feel it. It's in front of you. Suddenly, he saw it from a distance. I saw Long Wu Yin and wondered. I can't believe she's looking for Master Sao. This is the only way to paint. The master's residence. Long Wu Yin suddenly blared his eyes in panic. Unconsciously stepped back silently. She looked up and froze. When you see the glass in front of you. He asked, why are you here? I thought this woman was my friend. Really don't think about. Long Yu Yin suddenly flushed his face. Then he told me to find someone. Make the photographer seriously think about what to do. Why are you so shy? This guy was really the Dragon Ball that year. Raging Sao hegemony. Maybe she's afraid of me. The mayor pretends to be deaf and asks you to speak up. What are you talking about? What are you going to do? Long Yuyin suddenly stepped back and said anxiously, "This is the temple. What can we do?" The photographer nodded slightly. Looking at Long Yu's face flushed red. I think she's still a girl now, even though the personality is slowly changing. But according to 2VI, she's getting stronger and stronger. It's getting worse and worse. He eventually became a dictator in the White House. Master eventually died at her hands. But in this life, she's been trained twice. It seems a little shaky. Look at her appearance like that. I don't hate her anymore. Master said no wrong. We're blinded by hatred, and we solve what the enemy needs. Just eat back and forth. Young age opponent. It's totally possible to renovate her. Even become his own. Long Yu sound panicked, hugging the body screaming. What do you finally want to do? She screamed as if she'd been steamed by matches. The photographer told me not to scream anymore. I thought that Long Vuao was someone like this. Her nature is so weak. I heard she didn't have a father since she was a kid. But the mother remarried. That's why he uses such a fierce personality. To disguise myself. The poor are just miserable. I'm beginning to understand your words. Master, let me be a bad person to the end. Give your hand out. It made Long Wine see it with horror. Suddenly, his hand touched his shoulder and told Long Wine. As if Moon is my master, even though I don't know what hatred there is between you. But you must know that master is kind. It's absolutely impossible to hurt anyone else. I hope you can let go. Carefully think inside this. Is there a misunderstanding? However, Dragon's face still flushed like a GAC. It makes the photographer think. Why is it so easy to talk today? Maybe this is really the Dragon Dance SAO. He said with a sigh after returning. Think carefully for a moment what I say. Any questions that might come to me? He said and walked by. Long Yu sound bewildered like a dog. He came back and said, wait, which made the photographer wonder. Go back and ask what happened. She is now asking. You are not saying get as far away as possible. Laughing softly, I talked to you before. I'm afraid you don't understand either. Before, I was filled with hatred for you. But through the teacher's teachings, I've dropped it. Long dance, I hope. You can also let down your hatred for your master. We are like that. Maybe we can still be friends. Next time I go to school, wait for your answer. Long Vu silent people 7 gods. The question is, why do you hate me? Is because of the moon Sao, as if the moon was his master. She sighed for a breath. And then she's walking around in her mind. The fate of the moon is in my hands. If you bring her magic to life, she said she'll die outside. She wondered why she really wanted her dead. Seen in the elementary school of the motto. When he returned, he was surprised to ask, where have you been, photographer? He closed the door and told me to go see a man. That makes me wonder. I think the new moon is not long. Why is there a reason? Suddenly, the photographer glowed and asked her if she was also here. The wind suddenly came, hugging the arms of the motto. Greet the photographer with a friendly smile. I saw that, he laughed. Tell me to go into training. You just do your job. It's a shame to say this. Don't get me wrong. The surprised photographer returned to ask, it's not like you two are talking back here. He looked at the words and laughed. quickly returned to the room.